In 1945, N.C. Wyeth was killed in a very tragic accident. The family was based in Chadds Ford near Philadelphia, and N.C. had built his studio there, which is still there. It's right in the center of a battlefield, the Battle of Brandywine from the Civil War. And all of the Wyeths seem to have an intense interest in the land. They're embedded in the landscape, whether it's Chadds Ford in Pennsylvania, or Maine, or in Jamie Wyeth's case, the island of Monhegan off the coast of Maine. They have this feeling about landscape, and to them, landscape is imbued with history. It's clear both in N.C., certainly in Andrew, and I think also very much in Jamie. This is by Jamie Wyeth from 2001, a year which should trigger some kind of idea about what this is about. It's called Patriot's Barn, and it's in mixed media, and if you look closely at it, Jamie has mixed several different media here. I can see charcoal drawing behind it. I think this is oil paint. This looks to me like watercolor, possibly pastel, and an oil sky. I'm not sure. He's used various different media to create a very strong feeling of landscape. Now, this was something that he saw in the countryside when he was driving through. Jamie Wyeth was the artist who was called on to illustrate the aftermath of the September 11th disaster in 2001. But this is actually more moving, I think, than the official painting he did for a magazine cover at that date, which is very famous, and in the show, I might add. This was something he saw in the landscape. I was in New York in October 2001, and what I remember about that was, apart from the horror of the smoking remains of the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, was quite simply the American flags everywhere. Everyone had a flag flying from their car. There were stars and stripes hanging from buildings. It was very moving how the country came together like that in the wake of that disaster. And this is part of that scenario. In the countryside, Jamie, driving along, saw this huge white barn with an enormous stars and stripes hanging off it, and had to stop and record it. In doing so, he's done something which could almost be by his father. If you bleached away the color, I think you'd have something that would have appealed to Andrew very much as well, because the building is far back. There's this sense of distance. It's silent. The sky is twilight. There's a sense of peace and hush, but it's kind of the hush of a withdrawn breath. It's like that. And what I love is how much more precise, how much brighter the reflection in the pond in the foreground is. This is purely optical observation, but nonetheless it increases the power of the image because it brings the pond forward for you. If you look at the flag, the stripes in there are much brighter than they are in real life in the distance. So there's a sense of distance and peace about this. This is Jamie's memorial to the fallen of the Twin Towers in September the 11th, 2001.